Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome inside the athletic fields here at Milford High School, as Milford TV is happy to bring you coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics. This is Tim Coet on the call as we begin playoff coverage for Milford boys soccer. The Milford Scarlet Hawks entering into the first round of the D2 South bracket, and as the number 2 seed, playing host today to Catholic Memorial, the number 15 seed in this D2 South bracket, and everyone here excited to see playoff action getting underway here in Milford. The Scarlet Hawks again entering into this bracket as the number 2 seed, finishing up the regular season 14-0-2, an unbeaten regular season. The first time in program history the Scarlet Hawks were able to achieve that feat, and so they take that unbeaten streak here into the playoffs tonight, taking on a tough team in Catholic Memorial. Despite a 6-10-2 record, this is always a difficult program to face in the regular season or the playoffs, and so it should be a good battle here today. Milford out of the Hockomock League and Catholic Memorial out of the Catholic Conference, where they finished up the season again 6-10-2 in 4th place in those Catholic Conference standings, but a loaded conference with tough programs like St. John's Prep and Xaverian leading the way. And so you know this is a battle-tested team. They faced off against some very difficult programs over the course of the regular season. And as we know, sometimes once you get into the playoffs in soccer, very unpredictable things can happen. You need to just look back to last season. That very strong Milford Scarlet Hawks boys soccer team a year ago bounced in the quarterfinal round, upset by Walpole. So this team knows what their fate was a season ago. They don't want to see history repeat itself in these playoffs here in 2019, so expect a very focused Milford Scarlet Hawks group to take the field here tonight. And again, delighted to bring you coverage of this boys soccer playoff action here, bringing it to you live on our Milford TV educational channel and also streaming live on milfordtv.net. So if you're tuning into us live here tonight, happy to have you with us. And again, we expect a very good matchup here tonight. Milford ended up finishing off the regular season. When last we covered the team, it was that hard-fought tie against North Attleboro back on October 22nd. They were able to finish out the year with 2 straight 3-0 defeats, one on the road against Stoughton, and then their regular season finale at home against Canton back on October 28th. So it's been a little bit of a breather for the Scarlet Hawks since the end of the regular season, but it is time to get this postseason started. And the clock starts, and this playoff action underway now under the lights here at the Milford High School turf field. And Milford looking to attack from right to left across your screens here in this first half action. And Milford immediately trying to carry the ball ahead towards the direction of João Pedro da Silva, but cleared out to the far side of the field. The only 2 teams that were able to emerge from a matchup with Milford without a straight-out loss were the Foxborough Warriors, who dueled Milford to a 2-2 draw early in the regular season, and then it was that 1-1 tie against North Attleboro in the late stages of the regular season. 2 very defensive-minded programs, and it takes a stout defensive effort to try to hold this potent Milford offense down. Streaking up the field now from the far side, it's Jordan Borges, gets it past the keeper, it rolls across the goal mouth, no one in position to redirect that one in, and Catholic Memorial getting an early break as the Scarlet Hawks were able to catch the keeper Declan O'Sullivan out of position. And so Milford trying to apply some pressure immediately here inside of the first 2 minutes of this playoff action. Hear the mantra of pressure from the Catholic Memorial sidelines. The head coach of this Catholic Memorial Knights program is John Finn, who was an alumni of Catholic Memorial himself, part of the class of 1989, and Milford under the direction of their head coach and Milford High School alumni Brian Edwards. This ball ticking out of play from the near corner, just to the left of the sophomore keeper, Kevin Gomes, making the first playoff start of his varsity career, the underclassman. It's a free kick here early on for the Knights. Lining up for the kick, number 23, Ronan Hurley. He fires this one in to the far post and guided off towards the corner. off the right hand of Gomes. And now on a play to the far sideline. We mentioned this Milford offense through the regular season, those 16 regular season games, 56 goals scored. And right now, Milford trying to get it out of traffic just inside the box, but Catholic Memorial doing as their coach pleaded on the sideline, applying good pressure in the offensive zone. All the way to the far sideline now. Catholic Memorial able to keep it in. A hard deflection out towards the middle of the field, and Milford now a chance for a breakout. Crossing the center line to Pedro Araujo, the team's leading points getter, goal scorer, setting a new Milford High School single season points record, as he finished up the regular season with a total of 36 points, 25 goals, and 11 assists. While popping out of play off of Milford, Gabe Alvarenga over there in the area. Trying to win back possession here. Milford with good pressure along with Carlos Torina. And now streaking up the far sideline, Milford showing off that speed again. This Catholic Memorial squad, no doubt well aware of the offensive weapons that Milford possesses, and certainly the argument or the agenda for this defense really starts with containing Pedro Araujo, but as we've talked about at length through our regular season broadcast, it takes so much more than that to hold this offense down. You take a look down the leading scorers in the Hockomock League through the regular season. Lucas Da Silva right up there as well with 15 points in the regular season, 8 goals on 7 assists. Leo Coelho finished up the regular season with 6 goals. Jordan Borges with 3. João Pedro Da Silva with 6 goals on the season. Dan Santos collected 5 goals. It's a lot of targets to try to contain on this field. Catholic Memorial now with some space on the near side, and Milford now trying to get the clear. Good pressure applied there by Catholic Memorial's Ronan Hurley, who's been in the mix here quite a bit through these early 5 minutes of game action. Drifting out of play, that last touch Catholic Memorial. Jordan Borges with the quick toss in, and he'll get it right back. And now the feed all the way down in the corner. Milford trying to get clear. That was Araujo who slaps the turf in frustration. Milford trying to bring it right back in deep. A lot of blonde hair out there on the turf for the Scarlet Hawks as they enter into the playoffs. Hard contact right at midfield involving Carlos Torina. Hawks will get a free kick with 34 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the first half. Milford, the number 2 seed in this D2 South bracket. The only team finishing higher in those standings was Nauset, who claimed the number 1 seed. Teams will have the chance to enjoy home field advantage for this round and the next before the scene shifts to neutral site games, but that comes with a bit of a caveat when it comes to Milford. We'll get to that in just a little bit. First, Alvarenga having to track this ball back, a 2-on-1 forming, but Alvarenga able to get to that ball first, and Milford is going to get the clear back out as far as center. Araujo had that knocked away. Now Milford will try to advance again with João Pedro Da Silva, and now pushed ahead to Araujo, who gets called just offsides. Araujo so effective in this offense. Had a goal and 2 assists in the team's regular season finale against the Canton Bulldogs. Had a couple of hat tricks on the season. Believe he had at least one 4-goal game on the season. have to imagine that Pedro Araujo at this point is the overwhelming favorite to be the Hockomock League MVP for boys soccer. A quick chance right in front of the net, point blank range for Catholic Memorial's Sean Turner. And right now Catholic Memorial generating some potential chances here in the early minutes. Araujo gets taken down, and then Milford immediately restarts action. This is a team that, judging by their regular season stats and box scores, is comfortable playing in lower scoring affairs. A lot of one-score games, very low-scoring games for Catholic Memorial this whole season, and that's also at times been their calling card in the playoffs. No doubt taking a defensive heavy approach against this high-powered Milford offense. Still within the opening 10 minutes of play here between the Scarlet Hawks and the Catholic Memorial Knights. A lot of Hockomock League teams joining Milford in the postseason. We may get to that if time permits as the broadcast goes along. Again, Catholic Memorial bringing the ball in deep. Now trying to attack from that far corner, and the ball poked out of play. Coach Edwards warning of the long toss ability of this Catholic Memorial group. When we briefly spoke to him before the game, Araujo there trying to break the ball loose. I beg your pardon, that was number 8, Lucas Da Silva. And now it's Coelho winning the ball back in the corner. Quick strike up the far sideline, and now Milford works the middle just past the reach of João Pedro Da Silva, wins it back, and then trying to hit Araujo in stride along the near sideline, but the ball intercepted. And now here's Torina, who will try again to hit Araujo. He's able to break free of a defender. Can he keep this ball in play? He does. But the Catholic Memorial defense able to get back in numbers, and they bump Araujo off the ball and now back out towards center. Leading pass from Torina, just a hair quick and out of Araujo's reach, and by the time he tracked it down, reinforcements arrived for the Knights. And now a deep clear for Catholic Memorial. Gomes waits for it to trickle inside the box and picks it up, as we are now at 29-25 on the first half game clock. Scoreless through these early minutes. A cool night here in Milford. Temperatures just north of 50 degrees during the afternoon hours, but with the earlier sunset time now already feeling much cooler than that. Free kick. Milford trying to direct it out of traffic. That was another dangerous chance, now right back inside the box. And now the shot goes wide to the far side, but a couple of good-looking opportunities there. In particular, it was Sean Turner again who has had a couple of close-range opportunities. It might have actually been Matthew Rochford who had the chance to head it down right in front of the goal mouth, and we see an early timeout called. Milford a chance to rally the troops here, as Catholic Memorial has come out with a lot of energy, and they have dominated this first 12 minutes of play. So a timeout called for here. We will take the timeout as well. 28-26 to go in the first half, scoreless in this opening round MIAA playoff game, brought to you live here on Milford TV. Back out of the timeout as Gomes prepares to send this ball back upfield. Milford now trying to match the energy that the Knights have brought to the table here to start this first half. Ball traveling the length of the field into the hands of Declan O'Sullivan, senior keeper for the Knights. So certainly a difference of experience in net with the sophomore on the Milford side and the senior for Catholic Memorial. But that being said, Gomes putting together a fantastic regular season effort, as again this ball's going to trickle inside, and now Milford able to regroup. Coelho now to the far side of the field. That pass took a hop off of Catholic Memorial to stay in play. Now here's Jordan Borges off to the races as Lucas De Silva trailing behind. Borges able to get the defender to lose his footing. Now the pass out to De Silva and cleared away by the Knights. An outstanding effort there for Borges. Got himself clear of the defender. Able to feed back to Lucas De Silva. Now again, Borges will have to track this one down deep into the corner. Floats it back out now again for Lucas De Silva. And this one will trail now to the far side of the field where Araujo getting a little bit of hard contact there. A couple of stiff shoulder checks from Catholic Memorial on Araujo, trying to play physical against the Milford leading scorer. So a flurry of action all of a sudden right out of the timeout. Milford trying to respond. By far their best scoring opportunity of this first half. But still 26 minutes and 25 seconds to go. Sullivan sends it back out to center and then carried along a little bit further now by the Knights, and Milford poking it back upfield. Here's the speed again of Borges. He takes his time. Now feeds it on the ground, a clear shot. And that one ricochets away, and now the second effort, and it's in. Milford forcing the effort, and eventually they're able to put it in for the game's first score, and Lucas De Silva taking the victory lap after Milford is able to take the first lead of the night now at 1-0. So Milford responding in a big way after the timeout. First it was João Pedro De Silva who had it clank hard off the post, and then Lucas De Silva able to bury it, and now it's João Pedro De Silva once again feeding that one across the goal mouth, this time to Araujo, who quickly has two defenders pin him in. And now down to the turf, no whistle. So Lucas De Silva with his 9th goal of the year, and now here's Jordan Borges, who gets a beautiful feed all alone, gets it past the keeper, and lightning quick, Milford is able to take a 2-0 lead. Some excellent passing for Milford over these last 2 minutes, giving themselves some prime looks, and now in the blink of an eye, it's 2-0. You could feel some anxiety amongst these Milford fans through these early minutes, feeling like Catholic Memorial really was surprising Milford with their effort. But taking some deep breaths now, as all of a sudden it has been Lucas De Silva and Jordan Borges over the span of about 2 minutes that has drastically changed the complexion of this first half. So now another timeout called for, stopping the clock at 25-16. Milford on a roll now, up 2-0 on Catholic Memorial in this opening round matchup in the MIAA playoffs here on Milford TV. Back to action now, with all of a sudden Catholic Memorial firmly back on their heels. In 2 minutes, Milford turning this game on its head, now leading 2-0. Goals from Lucas De Silva and Jordan Borges. Nice moves from Gabriel Godoy. Feeding it again ahead towards João Pedro da Silva. And the ball turned over here. Catholic Memorial has had some ups and downs in recent years in terms of making it into the postseason. They were last in the MIAA tournament back in 2017. As Milford now tries to get back defensively. Nicholas Reginato with some nice moves there momentarily for Catholic Memorial, but now quickly back up the field. They made it in as the number 20 seed in that 2017 playoffs. It gave Whitman Hansen a good battle that ended up going to penalty kicks. I mentioned that has been something that has happened with frequency for Catholic Memorial in the playoffs in the past. They also made the playoffs in 2014 and 2011. However, their most successful appearance in the playoffs in recent memory came back in 2009, where they ultimately took home the Division I state championship. Ahead now to Tarina. Out far to play the ball was O'Sullivan. The keeper, Tarina, and also a member of Catholic Memorial, looks like Maximilian Lustig, all coming together. But O'Sullivan able to hang on. I beg your pardon, that was 22, Jalen Rainford in on the defensive effort. In with speed is Araujo. When we last covered this team in that tie against North Attleboro, the playing conditions really dictated the speed of that match. The field getting very slick, rain falling right as that match got underway. That was the boys' senior night game, the first night game of the season for Milford, and ended up being rain slick conditions through the duration of that match, and you could tell it had an impact on the speed of Milford. Traction an issue, ball control certainly an issue in those wet conditions, and after getting an early goal from Leo Coelho, the offense wasn't able to do much, and certainly credit North Attleboro, who was one of the absolute best defensive teams in the Hockomock League in the regular season, but Milford playing that speed game to perfection so far here in the first half. Good touch pass ahead to Jordan Borges, now weaves it through traffic, but offsides. Only to about the midway point in this first half. Already had a couple of timeouts in this half, plus the 2 Milford goals, so slowing down the pace just a bit. Catholic Memorial playing this ball back to their defense. And now played along the near side by Milford. Back to Gomes, who keeps it on the ground. And up ahead now to Lucas da Silva, surveys his options and elects to push it back to the D-line. Dan Santos now sending it ahead to Araujo. Catholic Memorial trying to clog up the midfield to slow this team down a bit. Along the far sideline and out. Catholic Memorial getting the toss in. They'll also get a substitution in before play continues. The boys in action in the opening round of the playoffs tonight. It will be the girls beginning their playoff run tomorrow, but the girls unfortunately just missing out on a home playoff game. As this ball is sent ahead on sides to João Pedro da Silva and sends it in uncontested. And João Pedro da Silva freezing O'Sullivan and gets the easy strike to make this a 3-0 game. And right now this offense showing no signs of slowing down. Still 19:58 to go in the half. 3 different goal scorers so far for the Scarlet Hawks. Just perfectly played, the pass ahead, flawless, and De Silva taking care of the rest. All of these passes right on the money. Now, João Pedro De Silva to Lucas De Silva, and that one broken up at the last moment. Well, you really have to credit the effort of Catholic Memorial in those first 10 minutes, really pushing Milford maybe a little bit more than they anticipated. But Coach Edwards with a timeout at just the right moment. And since that timeout, it has been a Milford onslaught here in the first half. Now 3 goals unanswered. Jordan Borges out muscling Ronan Hurley. Finally, the ball poked away, and Borges jumps right back into it at midfield. Now carried ahead by Aiden Flanagan. And now pushed to the near sideline, kept in by Milford. And now sending this one ahead a little bit too far out in front this time, with Araujo breaking away from the defense, but that makes it to the keeper, Declan O'Sullivan. He has had some difficult plays to defend here in the first half. Now this ball up the middle of the field. João Pedro De Silva in a foot race, and Aiden Flanagan able to knock it away. .17:48 to go in the first half. Jordan Borges getting a rest and getting a huge cheer from this Milford crowd. A very big crowd on hand here in Milford. The stands here on the home side full, and this one is going to trickle in and deflect in for the 4th Milford goal of the half. And it looked like that might have been Pedro Araujo getting himself on the score sheet here in the first half. And right now, you just cannot blink. Four goals and counting in this half. And a lot of personnel starting to loosen up on the sidelines now for Catholic Memorial. You have to wonder here if they might start to cycle in some new personnel. That might have been the feed from Araujo, and ultimately it was João Pedro De Silva directing that one in for the score. So we'll credit it to João Pedro De Silva for the moment. We'll of course verify all of the goals after the fact with the Milford staff, but regardless, it is a commanding 4-0 lead. It is far from the first time Milford has netted 4+ in a single game. This is an offense that averaged 3.5 goals per game in the regular season. Their high water mark in terms of goals scored in a single game came back on just their second game of the season, a 7-goal effort in a 7-2 win against the Sharon Eagles. Now O'Sullivan committing far out once again. This time he's able to make the stop. He has been trying to cut down the Milford angles as best as he could, as best as he can throughout this half, but again, he has come up against a buzzsaw of an offense here through this first half. Still 15 minutes plus to go in the first half. And now Torina losing his feet, got pushed from behind. Catholic Memorial fans making the trip to take in this playoff action have not had much to cheer about since those early minutes. Lucas Da Silva tracks this one down in the near corner. Eduardo Castro now there in support. Again along the near sideline. Castro now with a quick pass and the redirect in on the header. And Milford is just putting on an absolute clinic in this first half. And that time it was definitely Pedro Araujo. It was only a matter of time before he got in on the action here in the first half. 15:03 to go, and it is 5-0 Milford. And you can see a lot of hands on hips out there for Catholic Memorial, no doubt wondering what they can possibly do to slow down this offense. All of this happening, again, still with 15 minutes to play in the half, and right now these Milford fans having themselves a party in the stands. You thought this team might make a statement in the opening round of the playoffs, given all they accomplished in the regular season. But I think even the most fervent Milford fan may be surprised with 5 goals already in the first half. Gomes now with a rare opportunity to touch the ball himself. He has seen a lot of action on the opposite side of the field. Now, Torina, terrific skills handling the ball, now ends up sending it back as we tick down to 14 minutes to go in the half. And then the leading pass too far out in front. Lucas Da Silva aware and didn't want to go off sides and allowed that one to trickle back to the keeper. And now up the field with speed. A move to get away from a defender, and now sprawling out was O'Sullivan to make the stop. Eduardo Castro making a bid to get himself on the score sheet in this first half with still 13 minutes to go. Leo Coelho now playing that ball briefly. You know he wants to get one in the back of the net at some point in this match, one of the top scorers for the Scarlet Hawks in the regular season. And meanwhile, big time changes coming up here for Catholic Memorial. 3 subs coming in. Henry Lindemann trying to gain entry for Catholic Memorial, but quickly now has to get himself back defensively. As Jeremy Huang losing his footing for Catholic Memorial, and play now continuing with 12 minutes to go. Chilly conditions as this first half continues on, but this Milford offense absolutely scorching hot. Right now, Pedro Araujo and Jordan Borges both taking a rest on the bench with still 11 minutes and change to go in the half. In the opening round of the playoffs last season, Milford matched up against Bishop Feion High School. was a much closer game. One that Milford ultimately won 3-1, but getting that third and final goal relatively late in the second half. That was a close game really from beginning to end. And now up ahead towards Castro, but he gets whistled off sides. We covered a total of 3 regular season home games for this boys soccer club. And despite Milford putting up those huge offensive numbers throughout the regular season, 2 of the games we covered were the 2 ties for Milford, 2 lower scoring games. Also covering the team's 3-1 win on opening day against Franklin, but we are seeing this offense in all its glory here in the playoffs. Eduardo Castro there again with a great bid, but just could not get it past the keeper O'Sullivan this time. .9:55 to go in the first half, a 5-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. So much action here in the first half, having a hard time keeping our scoreboard graphic updated. Milford getting some of their starters back in now. Araujo and Borges back out there. Both teams now cycling in new personnel. Araujo popping this one up towards the far side of the field. Castro giving chase, but getting back there first is Catholic Memorial. Now Castro again has Borges just to his left, feeds it to Borges, past the keeper and drifts just past the near post. Borges close to his second goal of the half. Goal kick here for Catholic Memorial with 8.5 minutes left. Borges along the far sideline, walking the tightrope, able to protect. Now the self pass and the quick feed right on the doorstep for Pedro Araujo. Point blank range, that ball deflects away. And it looks like we will see a penalty kick here for the Scarlet Hawks. Araujo interfered with just outside the goal mouth. And Declan O'Sullivan, another tough test here. It looks like Leo Coelho lined up for the penalty shot. And able to guess right is O'Sullivan. He makes the stop. And so an easy bid for Milford to net their 6th. And denied. It looks like perhaps we've seen a change in net for the Knights. Looks like O'Sullivan maybe on the sideline at this point. If the number on the uniform matches the number on the roster, that's Matthew Floyd now in net for the Knights. Now this one lifted in and just up over the net. Araujo waiting for that one to come down. We tick down now to 7 minutes left to play in this first half. Still the whole second half to go with this already sizable lead for the Scarlet Hawks. So drifting back out to the center of the field for Coelho. And Milford on the attack once again. Coelho, such quick feet. Now sees Araujo laying in wait. And nice hands by the keeper, plucking that one away from Araujo. Dan Santos looping that one forward. Eduardo Castro right there, now turns on the Jets, has Araujo to his left, past the keeper, and that one rolls in for the 6th Scarlet Hawks goal of the first half. Credit Eduardo Castro to make it a half dozen with still 6:09 to go in the first. So the Hawks couldn't convert on the penalty shot for number 6, but all starting with that pass from Dan Santos. And Castro just waiting. Had Araujo if he needed him, but did not. The junior netting goal number 6 of this MIAA playoff game. Unbelievable for Milford. Ace fans right now continuing to have a ball in the stands, and why not? Chance and lots of applause for the Scarlet Hawks group, who now lead 6-0. And some of the Milford bench now starting to loosen up along the sidelines. We may very well start to see some of the depth on this varsity roster once this game transitions into the second half. Free kick here for Catholic Memorial, and Gomes there sure-handed for the stop. Faced a couple of good tests in those early minutes, but since then has been a spectator to this incredible offensive performance here in the first half for Milford. Still just under 4.5 minutes to go before we reach the intermission. Pass up ahead in the direction of Ryan Larson. Instead into the hands of Gomes. I wonder if we might see more on that in a moment. Here's Castro again with a quick strike, and this time wide to the near side. Every ball upfield immediately draws the oohs and ahs of the crowd, as right now this offense could strike literally at any moment. Goal kick here, and right now Milford has a quartet of subs ready to check into the final 3 minutes of this half. Santos now with the clear. Nick Ribeiro in on the play. This one is going to go the other way. Up ahead now into the box, but right into the teeth of the Milford defense. Jordan Borges now trying to break it out. Coelho can't get the clear, but now Tarina Whistle going against the Scarlet Hawks. The subs continue to wait for a chance to check in as we now are about to reach the final 2 minutes in the half. And the game clock frozen. As Catholic Memorial lines up for the free kick, trying to give themselves something to carry with them into the half. Instead, that kick sails over the net. And the subs will come in now. And this brings some more cheers from the Milford crowd, getting to see some of the depth players on this varsity roster get a chance to see game action in the playoffs. Pedro Araujo still out there. And now Torina slowing up the pace. Lost the ball briefly, getting it back. And across the field now to Ribeiro. And Ribeiro, the freshman, giving a little bit of a shove after the play there. No whistle. The freshman playing with a little bit of intensity out there late in this half. Araujo now winning that one, poked free by the Knights defense. And now that one deflected out. Chance for the toss in for Catholic Memorial. Maybe about a minute left to go. And instead, that will be the half. So those final 2 minutes, some of the quickest of the half. But we head into the intermission with Milford enjoying a 6-0 lead. A pair of goals from João Pedro da Silva, goals from Lucas da Silva, Jordan Borges, Pedro Araujo. And it all totals up to a 6-0 lead for the Scarlet Hawks. Eduardo Castro netting the 6th goal of the half with just over 6 minutes to go. So it has been quite an opening 40 minutes for the Scarlet Hawks offense. We'll see what they bring to the table in the second half. But first, a pause in the action. We will have that second half action for you coming up in just a few moments. So stay with us here on this playoff coverage of Scarlet Hawks athletics on Milford TV. Welcome back inside the Milford turf field as we bring you second half action between the Milford Scarlet Hawks and the Catholic Memorial Knights, the number 2 seeded Milford, the number 15 seed Catholic Memorial. And if you are just joining our coverage, no, our scoreboard is working just fine. It is 6-0 Milford as we just begin play in the second half. The Scarlet Hawks now attacking from left to right across your screen. And Jordan Borges getting tripped up. They will let the play go. Milford, after sleepwalking just a bit through the opening minutes of the first half, came alive. And once the offense started, it did not stop. Lucas da Silva getting the scoring started just about 13 minutes in. And from there we saw Jordan Borges chip in a goal. João Pedro da Silva with 2 goals. Pedro Araujo with a header in for a score. And then Eduardo Castro with a breakaway goal with just about 6 minutes left to go in the first half. And it all totals up to a commanding 6-0 lead for Milford right now, who looks to be well on their way to the quarterfinal round of this D2 South bracket for the 2nd consecutive season. That team that Milford suffered their quarterfinal round defeat to a season ago, Walpole, is back in the bracket again this year. However, they are the lowest seed in the bracket. And so for Walpole to advance to the later rounds, they will first have to go up against the only other unbeaten team in the bracket. That is Nauset. Those two teams also playing as we speak. The winner of this game, Milford versus Catholic Memorial, will face off against the winner of number 7 seed Dartmouth versus number 10 seed Medfield in a game that will take place 2 days from now. Another Milford player losing their feet right at midfield. That was Lucas Da Silva. And the quick kick here for Leo Coelho down to Araujo on the near sideline. Showing off the footwork. Trying to get himself clear, sends it back out to Torina, who has some space in front of him. Now launches it ahead, saw Da Silva sneaking in towards net. Instead, this one blasted in long range from Borges, and the save is made. Not certain if Catholic Memorial made a change in net during that first half. It was Declan O'Sullivan who made the start. So we believe it is either O'Sullivan or Matthew Floyd who is out there now for Catholic Memorial. Torina now drifts this ball again to the near sideline. Araujo trying to save it, but that one dribbles its way out of play. Still within the opening 5 minutes of the second half action. So Milford 14-0-2 at the close of the regular season. Nauset ended up claiming the number 1 seed, finishing the regular season with 2 more victories. They ended up playing 2 more games than Milford did. So Nauset finishing at 16-0-2, Milford at 14-0-2. Also a 1-loss team in the bracket. That is Diamond Regional, who finished the regular season 14-1-2. So those top teams with some impressive records. Also Oliver Ames as the number 4 seed, so another Hockomock team making it into the top 4 seeds in the bracket. Oliver Ames with a respectable record themselves at 13-3-0. Oliver Ames is the only other, I beg your pardon, one of 3 Hawk teams in this bracket. Milford as the 2 seed, Oliver Ames is the 4 seed, and then down at the 12 seed is North Attleboro. But all of those teams on the other side of the bracket, so the only chance we'll have at seeing a Hockomock League opponent is if they make it all the way to the district finals. Dump in here for Nuno Mestre. Held on to by the Knights keeper. 34-54 on the clock here in the second half. And this one in towards net, but that drifts well wide to the near side. We're unsure at this point what our coverage will be for the girls tomorrow. Unfortunately, we do expect there to be some fairly significant rainfall throughout the day and into the evening hours tomorrow. And of course, with that game on the road, we will do our best to get a camera out there if we can. Unfortunately, we cannot guarantee coverage of that one, but should this boys team advance, their next game would be right here in Milford, and we can guarantee that we will be there for that one. All 4 of the teams from Milford that we have been covering throughout this fall season made it into the postseason. Unfortunately, only 2 remain as we enter into this week's action. Both the football team and the girls volleyball team were in action over the weekend, or I beg your pardon, back on Friday. And unfortunately, the results were not good. Milford traveled to Walpole for a first-round matchup in the D3 South bracket, and it ended up being a very tough loss for the Scarlet Hawks football team in that one. The girls volleyball team traveled to Westboro in the opening round of their playoffs. The Scarlet Hawks finishing the regular season at 10-9, making it in to their playoff bracket, but ended up suffering a 3-set sweep loss to Westboro High School. So football and girls volleyball are out of the playoffs. The girls volleyball team now done for the year, and the football team will finish out a non-playoff schedule over the next 2 weeks before they wrap up with their Thanksgiving matchup on the road against Maynard. Milford trying to make a move upfield now. Here's Araujo. Hesitates now, tries the no-look pass to Mestre, but that one broken up. Araujo now able to get it back, winds around one defender. And finally poked out of play. Catholic Memorial had had enough. Araujo now in the corner, loses his footing. .32-10 on the second half game clock. And just to put a score on that game for the football team, it was 34-19. A relatively close game at halftime, but Walpole was able to extend the lead. So Walpole has been at times a playoff kryptonite for Milford clubs. Of course, ending this boys soccer team season a year ago. They also faced off against Milford in the district semifinals back in 2014, the football team, and also coming out on top in that matchup as well. We do know that the football team will face off against Hopkinton in a non-playoff game next Friday, but that game will be on the road in Hopkinton. Just a short drive for folks who want to take in another Milford football game. Just over 30 minutes to go as we get some substitutions in on the Catholic Memorial side. A quiet pace so far here to the second half. It was right around this point in the first half where the Milford offense was unleashed. Toss in for Milford on the far side. They send it the short way. And now blasted in, and the stop made. The rebound did squirt out in the direction of Araujo, but the defense able to keep it away from the senior for the moment. Araujo there making some contact. So the free kick is awarded. Gabe Alvarenga and Kevin Gomes coming together as that ball trickled into the box on the Milford defensive side of the field. But Gomes, calm and confident out there, has kept himself loose, kept himself focused. And we were about to give you the numbers on Kevin Gomes back during the first half when Milford began unleashing the fury, and we did not have a chance to revisit it, but just looking at those goalie numbers for Gomes in the regular season, finished up the year with a goals allowed average of .86, which was third best in the Hockomock League, behind only Kyle Briere of North Attleboro and Drew Nicola of Oliver Ames. So I suppose not a surprise that the three teams with the three best goalkeepers in the league are all in this playoff bracket. Here's Araujo now with a chance, clears himself of one defender, and the keeper just able to get his fingertips on the ball to direct that ball wide of the goal. It sets up just the first corner kick chance of the match. Coming up for Milford from the near side. They send it out the short distance. Now Araujo with it, tries to release a shot. His first attempt blocked, his second attempt goes wide to the far side. And a goal kick for the Knights with 28 minutes to go in the second half. The temperatures are only going to get colder from here as the week gets on. Assuming that this score holds and that Milford continues on in this playoff bracket, they'll play here at home again on Wednesday evening, where temperatures may very well be in the 30s by this point. We also have the possibility of our first snow of the season coming up on Thursday. And Araujo getting cut off from a chance at the net there. The defense getting back, and another nice play from the Catholic Memorial keeper. Pedro da Silva briefly possessing the ball. Now Eduardo Castro, both of them with goals in the first half. João Pedro da Silva with 2, Eduardo Castro with 1. And one of those goals for João Pedro da Silva happening so quickly. We believe it was off a feed from Pedro Araujo, with da Silva finishing off the chance. Ticking down to 26 minutes to go in the second half. Milford trying to pin the ball in deep. Catholic Memorial getting it out to midfield. Leo Coelho taking over from there. Milford on the attack. This one squirting just wide to the near side. That was Gabriel Godoy trying to break through with Milford's first goal of the second half. And right now, 1 goal shy of their single game high this season. Nuno Mestre staying close to his man along the near sideline, but eventually gets whistled. And now a chance here for Ryan Larson. For trying to keep the shutout bid intact. Still have 24.5 minutes to go. And this one pinballing around, but then will deflect over the goal line and out. Milford will get the goal kick. Under 24 minutes. And this pass deflected by Mestre. And eventually out of play, just shy of midfield. Good sized student section. Looks like they've positioned themselves to the far right side of the bleachers, the opposite of where they're typically set up for football games. This has certainly been the most well-attended boys soccer match that we have seen this year. And this feed for Coelho. And he was just a step off sides. Leo Coelho had a chance to convert a penalty shot in the first half. But the Knights making the save. You know Coelho wants a goal in this playoff game. Dan Santos stepping up into the action, and a collision there between Santos and Benjamin Deshay. João Pedro da Silva getting a couple of shoves in the back. It's pinned down in the corner with Mestre and da Silva. And it'll be a goal kick now as that ball eventually made its way out of bounds. So we mentioned the two other Hockomock League teams in the playoff bracket. Oliver Ames has already played their opening round game against Greater New Bedford. It ended up as a 6-2 win for OA, so they were the first team in the D2 South bracket to advance to the quarterfinals. And they may face a Hockomock League rival in the next round. They will face the winner of the number 5 seed Somerset Berkeley against the number 12 seed North Attleboro. You know, despite that lower seed, North Attleboro is going to be a tough bid for any team in this bracket with the way that the Rocketeers can play defense. They ended up finishing the regular season allowing just 13 goals. In 18 matches. That was the fewest goals allowed of any team in the Hockomock League. Milford ended the season allowing just 16 goals, which was third fewest in the league. The only other team with fewer goals allowed than Milford, North Attleboro at 13, Oliver Ames at 15. But North Attleboro lacking the offensive punch that Milford and Oliver Ames had in the regular season. Milford with 56 regular season goals, Oliver Ames 44. North Attleboro had just 25. Here is Nick Ribeiro, the freshman, now as the second half wears on. Santos, Lucas da Silva, the touch pass. Ribeiro back into the action again. Ryan Larson trying to advance for the Knights. Couple of numbers out there right now for the Scarlet Hawks that unfortunately are not on our roster. Perhaps some late JV call-ups for Coach Edwards. Do not have a 25 listed on our roster. Lucas da Silva up the near sideline, and Milford will have the toss in it as Nuno Mestre with 18 minutes and 19 seconds to go in the half. Eduardo Castro trying to feed that one up ahead. A lot of the starters now out of this game. You can see Pedro Araujo, Leo Coelho, Jordan Borges all on the sidelines. Among others. Still 17 minutes and 45 seconds to go. The game well in hand for the Scarlet Hawks. Eduardo Castro, nice feed ahead. Keeper with good positioning. You've seen all night long these Catholic Memorial keepers have had no choice but to come far out to try to cut down the looks for the Scarlet Hawks. Nuno Mestre now checking out of the game, so slowly but surely all of the regular starters are making their way to the sideline. An opportunity to get warm. Lucas Da Silva is still out there for the time being for Milford. Still see good, crisp footwork, clean passing for Milford, regardless of what personnel's been out there on the field. Here's Da Silva giving way to Castro. Whistle going against the Scarlet Hawks now with just over 16 minutes to go. This Catholic Memorial team had trouble settling themselves into a groove really through the entire regular season. 6 victories on the year. There was only one stretch in which the Knights were able to win back-to-back games, and it was late in the season. 2 consecutive victories against Milton and Cardinal Spellman. That Cardinal Spellman game, the Knights able to score 6 goals in a 6-1 victory. That was before ultimately the Knights finished out the regular season with a 2-0 loss to Bishop Fenwick. Coach Finn preparing to bring in another wave of subs. 3 players now waiting to check in on the sideline. These players collide on the far side of the field. Resulting in a free kick for the Scarlet Hawks. And deflected just up over the crossbar and out of play. This will allow the subs to come in for Catholic Memorial. Felipe Guerra sending that header up over the goal. We play on with this 6-0 score. Milford had that stretch from about the 13-minute mark into the first half until the 6-minute mark, where it felt like every 2 minutes they were punching in another goal. Milford pushing upfield. The pass Ahead to Castro, tries to weave that through a couple of defenders. Ends up getting it right back. And now it's Ribeiro. He blasts one and sends it up through the uprights behind the goal. A lot of his teammates on the sidelines telling him it's good. Won't count on the score sheet, but these fans continuing to have fun with this Milford group tonight, and why not? Milford program collecting a Davenport Division title for the second consecutive season. They finished the regular season as the top team overall in the Hockomock League. As we mentioned off the top, the first unbeaten season in school history. Pedro Araujo, their leading scorer, setting a new team record for points in one season. A lot of regular season superlatives for this team, but one thing that has remained with this club has been that focus on wanting to stay the course, make a deep run in the playoffs. All of the players on this club this season that were here a year ago remember vividly how quickly that playoff run came to an end, much quicker than any of them would have hoped. I think to a man that team from last year would agree, saying that they had it in them to go much farther. Wanting to see to it that they do not make an early exit from these playoffs this season, and quite a statement here in the opening round that will no doubt resonate through the rest of the teams that remain in the D2 South bracket at the close of play today. There's not a team out there that is going to relish the idea of coming to this field to play the Scarlet Hawks team. And talking about their home field, as we mentioned, it's home field advantage through the first round and the quarterfinals, and then it will be neutral sites through the semifinals and finals. The neutral site for the two semifinal games is going to be Sandwich High School. However, the two teams that make it to the Division II South finals will play at the neutral site that just so happens to be this very field at Milford High School. And so that is an opportunity dangling in front of this Scarlet Hawks team that, should they make it through to the district championship game, they would have a chance to play it right here on their home field. But there is all sorts of work to do before we get to that point. Here's another breakaway chance here for the Scarlet Hawks, and robbed by the Catholic Memorial keeper. And even the Milford fans applauding the effort of the keeper on that play. Tick down now to the final 9 minutes of this second half. It was a 6-2 lead at halftime. Now another chance for more. Milford starting to put some pressure on again. Ribeiro feeding it up ahead, but offsides this time. Just over 8 minutes left to play in the half as this ball is dumped down in the corner. Catholic Memorial desperate to at least get one in their column here. Their bench doing their best to stay loose as it has continued to get steadily cooler as we've gotten deep into this match. About 90 minutes in since this game first touched off. See the first Catholic Memorial corner kick chance of the match come in from the near side. Low, stays on the ground. Milford trying to get the clear now. They're going to poke it out towards the Catholic Memorial bench, and it will take a hop out of play. Catholic Memorial lets it go out, and then the toss back in is knocked away by Milford, and we'll have another corner kick. Benjamin Deshay over to the corner. And this one blasted past the net, deflected out. And Milford will try to advance. Good closing speed for Deshay to poke that ball loose. Ribeiro now with it. And now we'll get it back and sent back towards midfield off the foot of Rowan Hurley. Pass aimed towards Eduardo Castro. He makes an adjustment to get there. And now dumped up ahead. The keeper far out, and that ball wide of the net. That was Arthur Tomei with the shot attempt for the Hawks. Eduardo Castro now will take a seat on the bench. So it looks like one of the only starters still out there for Milford is Dan Santos, anchoring that defense. A lot of players with an opportunity to get some rest and an opportunity to start looking ahead towards a potential quarterfinal round matchup with either Dartmouth or Medfield. Milford also making a change in net now as Leo Oliveira is now out there replacing Kevin Gomes. The game clock now frozen as we pass underneath the 5-minute mark. Can tell you that the Dartmouth Indians, the number 7 seed, finished up the regular season at 10-4-2, while Medfield ended the regular season at 8-4-6. And so just doing a quick refresh on the bracket as Oliveira makes a nice save, we can tell you that that game has already come to conclusion. It was a 3 o'clock start for Dartmouth versus Medfield, and a game that went into double overtime. But Dartmouth was able to emerge with a 3-2 win, so it appears as though Milford is just moments away from solidifying a quarterfinal matchup here on their home turf against Dartmouth. Final minutes playing out here in the second half between Milford and Catholic Memorial, a match that was decided well within the first half. This kick knocked down by Oliveira, continues to track it out to the edge of the box and then sends it out for his team to get ahead on the break. And a Catholic Memorial player down along the far sidelines. And so that will send us into an injury timeout. Just moments to go in the second half. We'll pause for the injury timeout. 6-0, Milford with the lead on Catholic Memorial here on Milford TV. So set to resume after a bit of a lengthy injury timeout. The injured player for Catholic Memorial was Maximilian Lustig, who had to be helped off the field with the assistance of the Milford medical cart. It's an unfortunate end to the game for one of the seniors on this Catholic Memorial squad. Again, we wait for the final signal from down below as the clock was stopped at the 5-minute mark. The Milford starters all anxiously awaiting a chance to celebrate. Most of them have been spectators for a good portion of the second half with the game well in hand. Milford now with some speed upfield, perhaps for one more strike, and this one past the keeper, but the Catholic Memorial defense able to get the clear. Milford will have the toss in deep. And sent in slowly towards net, the stop made there. Ribeiro trying to slow this ball up. Ribeiro not the least bit intimidated, playing in his first varsity playoff game in his freshman season. This one up ahead toward Leo Izau. The fans would love to see this group put one in the closing moments. Still great energy. It's been a terrific atmosphere here at the field throughout this one. The fans celebrating all 6 of those Milford goals in the first half and getting an opportunity to see the entire team out there on the field as the second half has gone on. It stayed a consistent effort. Just a complete game put together here for the Scarlet Hawks. Again, outside of those shaky moments early where Catholic Memorial pushed the Hawks a bit. But after receiving a stern message from the coaching staff with that early timeout, it really changed everything in this match in Milford. This game was never in doubt from there on. Oliveira now setting up for the goal kick. The junior getting into the later stages of the second half. And there is your final whistle. Quite an effort from the Scarlet Hawks here today. They scored a half a dozen goals in the first half, a quiet second half, but an absolutely dominant performance for the Milford Scarlet Hawks in the opening round of these 2019 MIAA playoffs. A 6-0 victory over the Catholic Memorial Knights. So the Knights eliminated. Milford now moves on to the quarterfinals, where they will face off against the number 7 seeded Dartmouth Indians in a game that will take place right here at Milford High School 2 nights from now on November the 6th. And we do certainly anticipate having more live playoff coverage for you then. So we look forward to covering that game. And a quick recap of the action. Again, Lucas Da Silva, Jordan Borges, João Pedro Da Silva with 2, Pedro Araujo and Eduardo Castro, the goal scorers in the first half, tallying up to a 6-0 victory for Milford here tonight. An impressive effort from Milford. A big thank you to Patrick Garapi helping out on the coverage for tonight. And I am Tim Coet again. That final score, one final time, 6-0. Milford with the victory in the opening round of the MIAA playoffs. This has been a presentation of Milford High School Athletics here on Milford TV. So long, everybody.